Hey, welcome to another Housecoat. It's Long Hair Friday today. It is a rant. It is a beautiful day. Was downtown earlier to do a few errands, and it's been a while since I've kind of done a show. Well, I apologize if I have any fans out there. I'm only kidding, but I am enjoying what I'm doing. But we've had some internet issues and things like that, so I am glad I did not try and do any live episodes because yeah, the internet has been really wonky lately. I'm hoping today is good. I hope the stream will make it to the end because I do it live because I don't want to upload and babysit my computer. And yes, sports and all, folks, whatever I say is I say. If I make a mistake on how I say the word, I apologize. I'm just a dude in a house coat, willing to share what I have to offer and to wake up the world in a way because we are too busy living our lives to know that it's slowly going downhill like a death of a thousand cuts. That is what this nation is being subjected to, right? I mean, holy cow, what a week have we had here. It's Friday, Long Hair Friday rant edition, and it's Mark Carney. Yes, Mark Carney is the target of my wrath, rage, whatever you want to call it, the observations, the reading, the shocking stuff that's coming out about our Mark Carney, our caretaker prime minister, folks. Yes, caretaker prime minister, kind of like the prime minister that, well, I didn't get the vote to be the original prime minister. We kicked out the other one, so I am in between. He is trying to run for riding. Yes, and folks, my God, let's take a step back, okay? Forget the tariffs, forget a host of things, forget that Justin Trudeau resigned and it's just a leadership race. So we have a bunch of people that put up their money, and then we got a couple of people disqualified, person of color, a female person of color, just before the debate stage. And lo and behold, after the debate, and when there's an announcement that Mark Carney is going to have a riding. Whose riding do they choose? Arya Chara. The guy has been voted 3 times in the riding since 2015. He must be doing something right, but according to Mark Carney and the Ivory Tower people, the ones that really want to control us folks, wake up. The Lower Town elite, the Davos crowd, they are after the whole country. You hear what Trump may have to say. Let's make it a 51st state. And I will pause and say this: it is a tempting offer, much better than our current state of affairs, right? No elected prime. I mean, we don't have any elected prime minister at the moment. We have one that's installed. We have no elected Senate. Everyone that's appointed is appointed by the prime minister, who was Trudeau, and he stacked the Senate. And then you have all the judges that Justin Trudeau and all the justice ministers have appointed since 2015. There's close to 1,000. And I don't want to get into some of the legal stuff that I've heard recently that come out of Canada for court cases on people with crimes that are atrocious. But meanwhile, let's throw in those people that said mean words about the government, right? A shout out to all those freedom fighters out there, everybody that's out there saying something that the government shouldn't be doing. I'm proud of you. I'm behind you and everything else. That's why that scone is lit. There's many reasons for that scone. And yes, folks, I am upset at my government, and Mark Carney has been installed to try and hasten their global finance alliance of net zero. Gavaz, however you want to say it. It's under investigation in the United States Senate Judiciary Committee. Yes, apparently, before Mark Carney was involved with the Liberal Party, in the consulting era, anyways, before he decided he was the intern leader, he failed to give documents to the Judiciary Committee, and I believe they have a wish for him to speak at the Senate hearing. I'm not positive. I've been reading stuff, and checking things out, and so far it seems to be a bit of a smoking gun, lots of smoke, no real fire, but the fire is small, and I imagine we are going to learn a little bit more as the days go on. Yes, look at the way Mark Carney treats our press. Look inside yourself. Rosie. How about look inside yourself, Carney, you selfish a-hole? That is correct. I shouldn't be mad, but that's what he is apparently like. Look at what he said to the other one. Oh, please stop in French, right? No, no. Or you will take the answer as I gave it to you. I mean, my God, Canada, wake up. Please don't just listen to global CTV, CBC, and all that. I don't care if you don't want to listen to like Rebel News. There are so many other good options out there. In fact, listening to CPAC is a good one because it's almost unedited and you can see everything if you go live. Yes, folks, live. If you go live to CPAC whenever there's a press conference, you should be able to watch it from start to beginning, start to end, and you will see the whole conference, right? The press conference. You know what the media does? They take their best sound bites that they want and they use it. And then the worst of the media will splice and dice things to make it sound like this is what he said. Remember, the CBC got in trouble with that with Pierre, and then they apologized. But the CBC or CTV, it don't matter. All I could tell you is mainstream press in the United States and in Canada has turned into garbage recycled material, right? And look at Mark Carney and how he speaks to the press and everything else and his fumbling of the words in French. I understand he can read French really well, just can't speak it. Yet, what did they do with Aria, the former MP that the riding of Mark Carney just took over? They said he couldn't run as the leader because he doesn't speak French. And here we have Mark Carney, who may be able to read French really well, but he can't speak it. He's like me with French. I guarantee you my French is just as bad as his, yet his vocabulary will be a lot higher than mine because it's been years and years and years since I spoke French and I was in school. And when I moved to a different area of the province of Alberta, and I didn't have to take French. It wasn't compulsory. Well, I didn't want to take French anymore. I wish I changed my mind and go back in time. I would be happy to learn French now because the more languages you learn in life, the easier they become to learn. Also good for the brain, right? Good for the brain. Mark Carney, yes, folks, he is on like the press, and you take a look at what talking about with the judicial senate thing that's going on. There is apparently intimidation, bullying, coercion of companies to try to force them to meet the net zero goals that this GFANZ, Glasgow Financial Alliance for Net Zero. It is a horrible thing. It's a wonderful concept, but a horrible thing. And the reason I say it's a wonderful concept because it would be nice to make everything better in the world regarding energy use. And I say it negatively, and a horror story is that it is going to crush a lot of people and a lot of industry. And if GAFGFANZ, sorry, GFANZ did not exist, and we allowed the private sector to do what it's doing, we will eventually have better efficiency of our energy. We will, because the private sector, in my mind, for all the things that I've read in my life throughout history. So I am 53 years old now, so I've been reading for over 45 years. Yes, my younger years were Dr. Seuss, but once I delivered with the newspaper, folks, I've read the newspaper every day for like 40 years. The only reason I'm not reading one now is because, well, I can get the newspaper on the iPad, right? And that is the way life goes. But I am an information junkie, and I'm going to tell you something right now. Mark Carney is not a good person. From my understanding of my readings and everything else that I've looked into, from listening to people from the UK who say he was a bad bank governor, to his wife complaining about the residency in England wasn't adequate for her. And quite frankly, folks, take a minute and just think about this. We have Mark Carney, who has never lived in this country for over a decade, is somehow our savior, who was installed, really installed, if 400,000 people registered to vote, and less than 100 or less than 200,000 actually got to vote for him, and they kick out two of the most popular candidates that were East Indian, a male and a female, Ruby. What a gem she is, and they kicked her out. And the sad part is, it's her own private live stream videos of her speaking to another fellow, like a debate, had more views than CBC. on the actual liberal leadership debate, which wasn't a debate, it was a love fest between a group of people who all shared common goals, right? Look at Christia Freeland. My children have a godfather, and his name is Mark Carney. That's right, folks. That's how well they are connected. And yes, folks, I know there's a rumor out there that says somehow Mark Carney is related to Justin Trudeau, while Kyle Kemper, the half brother of Justin Trudeau, put that to rest. If you're not following Kyle Kemper online, I highly suggest you do. He is a treat and a treasure, and I can't believe he's half a Trudeau. Yes, he is a little bit weird, but guess what? He helped John F. Kennedy Jr. basically help the MAGA Maha movement in the United States. Somewhere, somehow, there is a decency of a Trudeau, even if it's a Kemper. I know really well. I'm trying to mix up the words, whatever. Yes, folks, I know Mark Carney is not the person that we should have as our intern leader. As an MP, I find him rude. Yes, folks, rude. I find him to be narcissistic. I find him to be abhorrent. Abhorrent. Yes, what he said yesterday that the relationship with the United States is over, military, economically, and everything else. What a shocking statement because, my God, what are we going to do in North America as Canadians? Because if you think things are expensive now, and if Mark Carney would have continued with his rhetoric today, despite the phone call apparently Trump and Mark Carney had, and everything seems to be kind of hunky dory at the moment. If he continues with his idle threats of not having anything to do with the United States of America without the mandate of the Canadian people behind him, then yes, we have a Lord Farquaad, a Shrek, trying to run our country. It is horrible, abhorrent. You don't say that. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm not the prime minister or, you know, the caretaker prime minister, but I, for one, would have never stated, said what Mark Carney said yesterday. Because knowing what kind of I know about Donald Trump and his ego and everything else, he has a whole host of negativity about himself. Yes, Orange Man bad does have an ego. He does. He is a narcissist, and he can be a bully. Yes, he's showing it. And worst of all, he could literally take Mark Carney on his word and say, "Well, fuck Canada." As a person living on the western side of the country, I will tell you if they severed ties with America, everything about this country will be expensive, expensive. Because what used to come by truck across the road will now have to come by boat across the ocean. And yeah, no. Remember, folks, Mark Carney went over to China in September, got a $250 million loan for Brookfield's asset management, and moved the company just before the announcement of tariffs and bullshit like that to the United States. He voted for it. He was still a board member, and he voted. Now, as a caveat, and a person who owns shares and knows somewhat about finance, people that are, shareholders, the goal of the company is to make money, and the shareholders have a right to make sure that that company makes money. So, understandably so, the BAM, Brookfield Asset Management, moved to the south. That is what they did. Now, forgive me, but for a man who says he wants to save Canada, you just made yourself look like a hypocrite, right? A hypocrite. And yes, folks, and to get back to the tariff stuff, I looked into this, and I think you should too. Go find a country that has given out the least amount of tariffs in the world, and yet who is the most heavily tariffed country in the world, and that is almost the United States. Yes, folks, they have the least tariffs going out, and now they're just doing things that are reciprocal. or whatever, and it's still a crime, fentanyl, human trafficking, the guns, and everything else. And I really wish our government off the hop would have said, yes, we will improve border security, and this is what we're going to do, up to the standards that the Americans would like to see, as long as the Americans can have an inside guy in Canada. We now have that inside guy in Canada, which means the U.S. investigation apparatus will be able to help end the drugs, the flow of fentanyl, the human trafficking, and that's a nasty one, folks, and also all the illegal guns that are coming into this country. It is now all about the fentanyl supposedly going into the United States because just as much drugs do flow back into Canada. Crime is rampant. And why is crime rampant in Canada? Because of our laws. We don't have anything that really deals with racketeering, organized crime. The Americans do, we do not. That is why we are such a haven for criminals. Look at the brazen gold theft, where the one guy even went to India. Look at the recent events that have happened around Ontario with a backhoe, a front end loader, stealing the ATM machines and getting away with it. I mean, we are a criminal haven, a haven. Up to 12 to 14% of our GDP may be from illegal activities, and it may be as high as 25%. That statistic is shocking enough as it is. It's bad enough that our government somehow is included into the GDP. It produces nothing. It collects taxes and redistributes, and not very efficient, might I add you. Yes, and you take a look at everything that's going on and all the stuff that's going on down south, and everybody in Canada that's going against Tesla. I'm sorry, but yeah, we're done with Mark now. Let's just take a little couple minutes for this one, folks. What the frick are you doing burning down Tesla vehicles? What are you doing scratching up a Tesla car? Somebody bought that car on the idea that they were saving the environment and making a better choice than driving an ICE vehicle, internal combustion engine. And here we are, all of a sudden, all these people that were all pro save the environment are now let's burn Tesla, evil Musk, and everything else. Guess what? Just the other day, I'm listening to Elon Musk and a group of people that are part of Doge, I believe, and they're saying up to 40% of the calls for Social Security checks are fraudulent. People trying to steal other people's Social Security number and all that. Up to 40%. And then, they asked, the panelists got asked, are you guys going to be taking away anybody's, benefits and anything like that? Elon Musk said, no, we are not doing any taking benefits away from anybody. We are trying to get rid of the waste, the fraud, and the abuse. And he even added this, if we fix this well enough, we may be able to give people more money for their social security. Everybody that's screaming that, oh, he's going to steal billions from us. He's taking our personal information from us. He could have done that when he had PayPal. Could have. He had all your information now. And guess what? If you have to read, folks, just like what I'm talking about Carney earlier, you have to go beyond the headlines. You have to read. You got to spend a few minutes. You got to Google, go to CPAC, do whatever it is. But you have to go find the truth before you get bombarded with the half truth, white lies, black truth. You know what I mean? They don't tell you the whole thing and they mislead you. It is a shock and a shame. Everybody that burnt the Tesla vehicle, everybody that's doing the harm and damages, you're idiots, complete idiots and an NPC. You know what? I have more respect for the people in a way that are the Palestinian protests. At least they know what their mission is and what they are trying to achieve. The other half of these NPCs are just clueless clucks, like chickens that wherever the propaganda, they're gobbling it up and then destruction everywhere. Remember Bud Light, folks? What happened to Bud Light after the Dylan Mulvaney stuff? The transgender person. Really don't want to talk about that, but how did that boycott go? The worst I seen was Kid Rock shooting a case of Bud Light, and yet he still drank one a couple of weeks later, right? But what do people on the left do when they don't see something they don't like? They burn it down. Teslas everywhere, burn, keyed, scratch, shit on, whatever, right? You look at the old Black Lives Matter. Oh my God, mostly peaceful protests. Wake up, people. The good people that are trying to do something are trying to save the world, while the bad people are trying to mislead you about the good people trying to do good things. Remember that. Dig deep, read, look into things. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's a long hair rant Friday. It's my second one. I'm glad the stream has done well, no bump on the internet, so that is good. But I want to say something because I talked a long time. 20 minutes is here. I just want to remember that scone is good for anybody that's ever lost anybody for whatever reason, including, back injury, the fentanyl crisis, car accident, just natural causes, whatever. That scone is for you. That scone is for me. And also, if you have a time to take in your life, have the time to take in your life. Yes, live voice and all. Please just go visit the SPCA and just walk down the aisle and find a critter to take home. And also, people, positive vibes, take care and enjoy your day. And please read. Read, folks. It's not propaganda if you read. Take care.